Have you ever opened your salary slip, looked at the number, and felt a strange mix of frustration and helplessness? You work hard every single day. You show up on time, you finish your tasks, you even take on extra work sometimes. And yet at the end of the month, the amount that lands in your account feels like it is mocking you. If this feeling sounds familiar, I want you to stay with me for the next few minutes, because today I am going to tell you a story that completely changed the way I think about money, work, and self-worth. This is not just a motivational tale. This is something that can genuinely shift the way you see your entire career. Let me take you back several years to a small office on the third floor of an old building. There was a young man named Daniel who worked as a junior accountant. Daniel was talented, sincere, and hardworking, but every month he received a salary that barely covered his rent, groceries, and a few bills. He would look at his colleagues who joined around the same time as him, some of whom were now earning double or triple his salary, and he would ask himself the same painful question again and again. Why am I still stuck here? Why does hard work not seem to be enough? Daniel started believing a story in his head, a story that many of us unconsciously believe. He told himself that his company was unfair, that his boss did not appreciate him, that the economy was bad, and that people like him were simply destined to struggle financially. This belief became so strong that it started affecting his confidence. He stopped asking for raises because he assumed he would be rejected. He stopped applying for better opportunities because he assumed he was not good enough. He became comfortable in his own dissatisfaction. And comfort, as we will see, can be one of the most dangerous traps in life. One day, Daniel's company hired a new senior consultant named Mr. Reynolds. Reynolds was known in the industry for turning around struggling departments and helping employees grow rapidly in their careers. Daniel was assigned to assist him for a special financial project. In the beginning, Daniel treated this as just another task, something to complete and forget. But within the first week, he noticed something different about the way Reynolds worked and the way Reynolds thought. During one late evening, while they were reviewing reports together, Daniel finally gathered the courage to share his frustration. He said, "Sir, I have been working here for almost 4 years, and my salary has barely increased. I do everything that is asked of me, yet I feel invisible. I feel stuck." Reynolds paused, looked at him calmly, and asked a question that Daniel did not expect. He asked, "Daniel, tell me honestly, if I removed you from this company today, how much would the company actually lose?" Daniel was confused. He said, "I am not sure what you mean, sir." Reynolds explained, "Companies do not pay people for hours spent or effort shown. Companies pay for value created, problem solved, and results delivered. If your absence would barely be noticed because someone else could easily do exactly what you do, then unfortunately that is exactly how much you will be paid. Not because you are a bad person, not because you lack intelligence, but because you have not yet made yourself irreplaceable." This single sentence hit Daniel harder than anything he had heard before. For years he complained about being underpaid, without ever asking himself whether he had built skills that justified a higher pay. He had been doing his job, but doing a job and creating value are two very different things. Reynolds continued, "Let me tell you about myself. 10 years ago, I was earning less than you. I worked in a small firm, unnoticed, underpaid, frustrated, exactly like you feel right now. One day, instead of blaming my company, I asked myself a very uncomfortable question. What skill can I develop that would make companies fight to keep me? I realized that most accountants in my office knew basic bookkeeping, but almost nobody understood financial forecasting, data analysis, or business strategy. So I spent my evenings, weekends, and vacations learning these skills. It was not easy. I sacrificed entertainment, sleep, and comfort. But within 2 years, I was not asking companies for a raise. Companies were competing to hire me." Daniel asked, "But sir, is it really that simple? Just learn new skills and everything changes?" Reynolds smiled and said, "It is not simple, but it is that straightforward. Simple does not mean easy. The truth is, most people want a higher salary, but very few people are willing to become a higher value person. They want the fruit without watering the seed. They want the results without paying the price of growth." That night, Daniel went home and could not sleep. He kept replaying that conversation in his mind. For the first time in years, instead of feeling like a victim of his circumstances, he felt something powerful stir inside him, a sense of responsibility. Not blame, but responsibility. He realized that blaming his company, his boss, or the economy gave him comfort. but it also gave away his power. If external circumstances were the reason for his situation, then he had no control. But if his own skills and choices were the reason, then he had complete control to change his future. From that day, Daniel made a decision. He decided to treat his career like his own business, and himself as the product. He started reading books on financial modeling. He enrolled in an online course on data analytics. He began waking up 2 hours earlier every day to study before going to work. He asked his manager for more challenging responsibilities instead of avoiding them. He started solving problems before being asked, presenting solutions instead of just reporting issues. It did not happen overnight. For almost a year, nothing seemed to change externally. Same office, same desk, same salary. There were moments he felt like giving up, moments where he wondered if Reynolds' advice was simply wishful thinking. But he kept going because something inside him had shifted permanently. He was no longer working just to survive the month. He was working to build a future version of himself who would be undeniable. Then, one day, an opportunity arrived. A major client needed someone who understood both accounting and advanced data analysis to fix a serious financial reporting issue. Nobody in the office had this rare combination of skills, except Daniel. He solved the problem in a way that saved the company a significant amount of money and impressed the client so much that they specifically requested him for future projects. Within 6 months, Daniel was promoted. Within a year, his salary had increased dramatically, far beyond what a normal annual raise would ever offer. But more importantly, his identity had changed. He was no longer the underpaid, overlooked employee complaining about his fate. He had become someone companies wanted to retain, someone who understood that income is not determined by time spent, but value delivered. Now here is the deeper lesson hidden inside Daniel's story, the lesson I want you to genuinely absorb today. Most people who feel stuck in a low salary are not lacking intelligence or effort. What they often lack is a shift in perspective. They keep asking, why is my company not paying me more? Instead of asking, what can I offer that would make it impossible for them not to pay me more? This shift from a victim mindset to an ownership mindset is one of the most powerful transformations a person can experience in their financial life. Think about your own career for a moment. Ask yourself honestly, if you left your current job tomorrow, how difficult would it be for your employer to replace you? If the honest answer is not very difficult, that is not something to feel ashamed of. It is something to feel empowered by, because it means you have identified exactly what needs to change. It means your next step is clear. Build a skill, solve a problem, create value that is rare and hard to replace. This does not mean you have to sacrifice your health, your relationships, or your happiness in some extreme hustle culture way. It simply means dedicating consistent, focused effort toward becoming better every single day. Read something valuable instead of scrolling mindlessly. Learn a skill that is in demand instead of complaining about market conditions. Volunteer for the difficult project instead of avoiding it. Position yourself as a solution provider instead of just a task completer. Salary is very rarely stuck because of bad luck. In most cases, salary stuck because growth has quietly stopped. The moment you resume growing your skills, your mindset, and your value, your income has no choice but to eventually follow. So, if you are watching this video feeling exactly how Daniel once felt, frustrated, invisible, stuck, I want you to see this not as a moment of despair, but as your turning point. Somewhere right now, there is a version of you, 6 months or a year from today, who has developed a rare skill, solved an important problem, and become someone impossible to overlook. That version of you is waiting for the decisions you make starting today. If this story resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on one specific skill you can start building this week, something that would make you significantly more valuable in your field. Write it down, commit to it, and take the first small step today. If you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel for more stories that shift the way you think about money and success, and share this with someone who might be feeling stuck right now. They might need this exact message today. Thank you for watching, and remember, your salary reflects your current value, but your future is not fixed. It is entirely in your